Hello, this is Victor Herrera, and this is my Crimson Tide presentation. This movie was directed by Tony Scott, and it starred Denzel Washington as Lieutenant Commander Ron Hunter and Gene Hackman as Captain Frank Ramsey. During this story, there was a big clash between Lieutenant Commander Ron Hunter and Captain Frank Ramsey. This clash was about pretty much whether a whole entire war was about to explode. This was between nuclear war and peace. And this was between two men and their differences of opinions. The first man I will be talking about is Ron Hunter. One of my favorite quotes from him in this movie is, "Set an example, even in times of stupidity." No, even though he went through so much in this movie, he still remained firm in what he believed in. This is why I really liked him as a leader. He was also very respectful to all of his crew members. He always showed them respect, no matter whether they cursed at him. He always showed them respect. This is important, especially in the military. He also obeyed the laws. You know, like when the big scene when he had an argument with Captain Ramsey. He argued that the law was that the proper protocol was to make sure that the electronic message was received. And by fighting for that and by following the protocol, he obeyed the laws, and he did this consistently throughout the movie. He was also very relatable to his fellow crewmates, and he's a people first kind of guy. As you've seen in the whole movie, he was able to relate with pretty much from the bottom crew members to the very top. He was very intelligent. He was a Harvard graduate, extremely smart. He was a servant leader as well. He was able to serve others. He even, remember that scene when there was the big fire scene? He didn't have to do that, but he did it because he's a servant leader. He does what he has to do to make sure that that ship was, that vessel was in good shape. He's also very fearless. You have to be fearless to go into a fight. You have to be fearless to lead a whole group of men into battle. And he had emotional self-control. I've never ever seen a leader with so much emotional self-control in a movie like how Denzel Washington played Ron Hunter. The scene when Captain Ramsey punched him in the face and he just stood there because he had the feeling, he knew he was right. He didn't resort to physical violence. He just let his beliefs do the talking, and he was right. The other leader I'm going to be talking about here is Captain Ramsey. He was a lunatic because pretty much what he was doing as a captain, this job was his life. He was also an extremist. Like, he pretty much thought the worst out of everything. He pretty much thought that the worst case scenario is what's probably happening. He was also a control freak, and he demanded respect without even giving respect. When you're such a high rank, you might think that you don't have to give respect, but Ron Hunter was actually giving respect to everybody. So I think that both of them could have looked after each other, and taken leadership traits from each other. But I think Captain Ramsey definitely needed more of a leadership upgrade when you compare him to Ron Hunter. He was very experienced and vocal. This guy was very loud. He always got his points across with his voice. And one of my favorite quotes from him is to preserve democracy, not practice it. Pretty much right there is like, just put words into action. Don't just practice and doodle around. This is the real deal. Don't mess around. And then when I went through the books, I saw the importance of honest self-understanding. And this is one scene in the movie that really impacted me and showed me that it's important to know thyself. And the movie, when they were having a dinner in the movie part of the movie, when they were having a dinner, Captain Ramsey was asking Ron Hunter, "What do you believe about the war? What do you believe about the bombs that they dropped?" And by reflecting on what happened before, relaxfully reflecting, Ron Hunter pretty much proved that, he's very self-understanding, that he knows himself, he knows what he believes in. And seeking feedback was extremely important in this movie, as this, that was important when it came to having, finding that message and getting to the surface, getting that message from the EMS. Another category that really caught my eye was emotional self-control, reactions to stress. The emotional worst case scenario, that's when you lose control. In the emotionally intelligent scenario, that's when you are in control of the situation. And sometimes in this movie, Captain Ramsey, he really exhibited the worst case scenario when he's lost his mind and lost the belief and of his crew members. And in this movie, I believe that Ron Hunter was the most emotionally intelligent leader. And I'm asking you, who are you going to be? Are you going to be tolerant, or are you going to be a loose cannon? Are you going to get through things, and then be mature, or are you going to be immature and lose your control? And everybody has hot buttons. And when I looked at the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, we need to add all of these things up. We need to pay people with respect, use earlier leadership lessons. Pretty much what that's saying is like, learn from your lessons, help others advance and improve. Help others if everybody needs help with their leadership. So by helping others, they in turn can help you. And that's why it's important to value others. If you don't put value on others, how do you expect people to value you? We need to make ourselves more valuable. Pretty much, get involved and communicate with more people. No one relates to what others value. Develop personal relations with these people so that they can, feel more comfortable with you. And do things that God values. That's pretty much saying that if you have a good ethical, good moral foundation, that's extremely important, and that can definitely build you into a better leader. If you add most of these up, quick combinations of each, if you add these up, this is why it's the law of addition. If you add these traits up, you could be a better leader. Just adding a few of these to your repertoire could help you out. The law of solid ground pretty much is straightforward. If you're going to lose trust, if you need trust, because this trust is the foundation of leadership. And when you lose trust, you pretty much are causing an earthquake. And if when the result is mistrust, you need to work on yourself. If people are losing trust in you, then you need to work on yourself and fix that. And when it comes to leadership, you can't take shortcuts, no matter how long you've been leading your people. You can't take shortcuts. You got to work hard for your goals. And having a good character, is very important. If you show respect and you're consistent in that, people are going to look up to you. And if you violate the law of solid ground and you're through as a leader, if you make people lose their trust, you're going to lose your credibility, and that's going to make you lose status as a leader. And it's important. This is another straightforward concept, is the law of respect. And leaders of steel are pretty much leaders that set themselves apart from everybody else. And these leaders, they take the initiative, and they pretty much are followed naturally by followers. And when you see these leaders, they're not you can't just guess, I think this is the guy's leader. You know who's the leader. It's not a guessing game. And yep, that's gonna be for the law of respect. And the law of respect, you pretty much need to set yourself apart as a leader. And in the movie, a respected leader steps down. That was when Captain Ramsey stepped down as captain, and he pretty much kind of handed over the throne to Ron Hunter. The law of intuition pretty much is straightforward as well. It says informed intuition. That means you need to know what you're getting yourself into. If you don't have experience in something, get educated. You need to be informed of what's going on in order for you to get through any leadership hurdles. And this is one of my favorite quotes from my readings for this. Improvement is impossible without a change in leadership. If you don't change your leadership styles, if you don't change yourself, then how are you going to improve as a leader? I thank you very much for watching my first Prezi video. Have a great day.